Thank you so much for joining us for the 2020 Community Baby Shower for Mecosta and Osceola County. The goal of the baby shower is to ensure that all families have what they need in order to thrive. This baby shower is for all parents, mamas included, that have babies prenatal to the age of 12 months. During the Let's Talk series, we are going to be talking about 3 different things: resources that you may need while you're raising your child. The second one is supports you might need, and we all need supports, and also the opportunity to network with other families just like you. I hope you will join us for the Let's Talk series. We hope that you feel special, because you are. Let's talk.
Hi, and welcome to another session with Let's Talk. Today we have our early on coordinator, Andi Strickler, with us, joining us, and she is going to be talking about early on. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, like Jessie said, I'm the early on coordinator at the Mecosta Osceola Intermediate School District. I've been in this position for, I think, about 13 or 14 years now. Prior to that, I worked at the ISD as a home visitor. So lots of experience going in and visiting and getting to know families and kids. So I'm also a mom. I've got 3 kids of my own, which right now we're in virtual sessions all over the house. So this has been an interesting morning. I was just telling Jessie all about it. So I have a 15-year-old at Big Rapids High School, and then I've got a 6th grader at the middle school. And then I have a 2nd grader at Brookside Elementary in Big Rapids. So we like to space our kids out and have one at every level. So we get practice across the board in our parenting. So.
Well, and many of our families are facing that same struggle right now with just balancing the day-to-day changes. And I'm sure that all of you out there watching this video right now can relate to that. Today we're going to be just talking with Andi about early on services. And again, thank you, Andi, for joining us for our Let's Talk series.
Anytime.
Yes. Andi, would you please share with our parents, what is early on?
Sure. Early on is an amazing program. It's something I truly believe in. I've loved my job and the team that I get to work with every day. Early on is actually, it's a federal funded program. So every state actually has this program, and it's available to anybody that's got questions or concerns with their babies. So early on works with just kids right from birth up to their 3rd birthday. And it's just when a parent has got any questions or concerns with their development. So, a lot of times you'll go in and talk to your doctor, and they may say, we're just concerned they don't have a lot of words right now. Do you have the same concerns? Or, they're not rolling over and not really trying to push up into a sit yet. So all those little pieces that you might have questions or concerns with, early on is available anywhere. Each state has their own name for it. And in Michigan, it's called early on. So every school district amongst Michigan has an early on program available for kids and families birth to 3.
Okay, nice. And it really sounds like you're very passionate about that, about early on. Why would a family contact you? You kind of spoke about doctors contacting you, but why or how would a family get in contact with you if they have any concerns about their child's delays or development?
There's quite a few different ways you can contact us. A lot of times, and why I mentioned doctors is because that's a lot of times where our referrals start, but it doesn't have to be that way. But a lot of times at well visits, when you go in, they of course always ask you those developmental questions. Is your baby sitting yet? Are they rolling over? How many words do they have? Are you concerned with the clarity of their words? And if any of those pop up, they typically say, we're going to send a referral out, or we recommend that you call early on programming. So the easiest way I really tell families is there's a website. It's just early on. You can look up early on, but it's 1-800 early on. You can call that number, just 1-800 early on, or you can go online and do 1-800 early on, and there's an online referral.
Okay.
None of our programming needs a doctor referral, though. You
Okay.
can just be a concerned parent and just see something. We had a parent concerned with their toddler's right leg the other day, just not sure if there was something truly wrong or not. Our physical therapist went out and found they were doing great. So
Okay.
no concerns. And we love those. That's fine. So
Right.
we are all about just coming out and meeting families, meeting kids, and just making sure. Our physical therapist was great. She still gave a bunch of motor ideas to that mom to try
Mhm.
and to work on, but really put that mom's worry to rest and
Mhm.
showed her why it's not a concern. And so we're definitely there. So you can contact us, even if your doctor doesn't have concerns. Please still feel free to reach out. And we can
That.
also
Yeah.
call Eastwood,
Mhm.
231-592-9605. We're housed out of Eastwood and Big Rapids at the Early Childhood Center.
Thank you for that. I was wondering, what is the cost for early on services? Because you're talking about doctors, you're talking about maybe exams or assessments.
Yeah.
It's a huge trigger word right now. So could you kind of share what are all the costs that is involved with early on services?
None. There is no
None.
So, like I mentioned earlier, it's a federally funded program, and all the federal funds, and there are some state funds too, are directly given to all of the ISDs in Michigan. And that's why the ISDs run those programs. And so they are considered part of a school program. And
Mhm.
just like school age kids you don't have to pay for school, this is considered early readiness for school. So we are
Okay.
totally looking at this for school readiness, even though they're babies. So there is no cost. So we offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language services, all in the home. We come right to you for every service that we provide. We do a parent coaching model. So it's not direct service. It's more the therapist ultimately teaching you as the parent to become the therapist and working
Nice.
with you. Because we're not there every day, and we could
Right.
show up on a crabby morning for your baby. So it's just more the therapist kind of talking about how things are going, giving you some strategies and some ideas to work with, the delay or the concern you have, and for you to practice those in between the times that they come back. But this is all free. There's no cost.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, I think that it's probably important right now to say that there isn't a cost, but there is a process. You can't just request a therapist to come out to your home every day or
Correct.
every week for a year. So,
Correct.
would you like to talk about that process a little bit, just so that we have parents know right away that this isn't a request for service and you're automatically going to get it?
Correct. So there is a process, and you start with calling or going online and doing that online referral. The first step is you would actually be contacted by myself, and we'll kind of talk on the phone about your concerns and how things are going. And then from there, we'll determine an evaluation date. And that's where you meet with the therapist. So if you've got motor concerns with your baby, you would meet with our physical therapist, maybe our occupational therapist as well. And they'll do a full evaluation and determine services from there. So your baby does need to qualify in order to get our services. So they would have to have a significant or a percentage of delay to qualify for these services. So yeah, and the services vary depending on the need of your child and what the delay is. So
Yes. Well, and you and I have spoke in the hallways here at Eastwood a lot over the last few years, and I know that your the support staff for early on is wonderful. So even if, like you said, that parent that was concerned last week about a delay with their child, they might not qualify, but they're always going to be able to get some support from that visitor. in order to,
Every visit, you're going to get ideas right away from them. They're great. And all
that's
of
right.
them usually are willing to share, some contact information. So if later after they leave, you have questions, or even down the road, they say, oh, you saw my child, 2 months ago, and we were concerned with this. Now this, do you have some ideas? And they're awesome. They're
Yes.
always willing to go above and beyond to help. So please, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions.
That's great. Thank you. The last question I have is, we actually, the team for the Great Start Collaborative, put together these key takes, and all of our parents are going to receive this little key take, and on the back, there is a QR code that will take them to what's called an ages and stages. And I was wondering, could you talk a little bit about ages and stages, and will that help the parents identify these delays that you're talking about?
Definitely. We love ages and stages. It's a great place to start. That's definitely something we hand out those to when we're out and about with families. So it is a perfect way to find out if you've got concerns and if you want to contact us and have some further investigation done. It lays out every area that we would look at as early on for a delay to qualify your child. So it asks some great questions, some different ideas and activities you can try with your child to see if there is a delay or concern. So definitely, that's a perfect place to start. And then it will pop out. And actually, we have a system that if you do it online,
Right.
if it does come up with a delay, it goes to Jesse, and Jesse forwards the referral right on to me. So
Yes.
you may not even need to call yourself. You may get a call
Right.
from me anyway. But it's still a perfect place to start and share it amongst your mom friends. Yes, definitely. It's a great thing to start with for sure.
Well, and I think the nice thing about these key takes here is that you can fill out the ages and stages if you have a couple minutes. So if you're waiting at a doctor's office,
Yes.
I think these, I think the ages and stages start soon after birth and run every couple months until they're a year old. And then they run every few months until they're 3, I believe.
I think even past 3 might be.
I think so.
Yeah.
We have a lot of parents in the community that have completed their ages and stages at least one time. But the important piece is to continue to go back in and do those the ages and stages as they become available, because your child should be developing throughout their early years.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
Andi, I have really enjoyed meeting with you, and I hope you continue to do well as the early on coordinator. I know you will, and I know that the families always have just a good visit when they're talking with you and the other support staff here. Is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
I think the only thing is I didn't mention what the ISD is. And so that's the big piece, is that that our ISD, so what our programming for Big Rapids, for the Mecosta Osceola ISD is Big Rapids, Morley Stanwood, Chip Hills, Reed City, and Everett. So those are the districts that we cover. If you go onto that 1-800 online, they will help you and they'll get you to the right spot. I know we have a lot of towns that overlap into other districts and other schools, but and even if you call me, I will help and make sure you get to the right spot if you're not in one of those school districts. We all kind of work together. So, but just so you know, for the Mecosta Osceola ISD, we cover those 5 school districts. So.
And the nice thing about the ISD, which is Intermediate School District, the nice thing about the ISD is if you get connected to early on, I'm assuming that as a parent, if you move to another ISD, Andi, that you would help coordinate that transfer of that file and make sure that there's a seamless transfer there. That's wonderful.
Yep.
So supporting children even before school entry is really the key, and really with the early on services. And I just know that families, once they're more aware of what the early on service is here at the ISD and even across the state and nation, they will be they will welcome the call, whether they need to make it or whether the referral is done by the doctor, just by seeing you and having you in this meeting or interview with me. So thank you for being a part of the Let's Talk series for the 2020 virtual community baby shower.
Yes, thank you for having me.